I'm Nettie Kaye. Welcome back to my studio and to a peek at how the large apple painting is finally turning out. I still have to let it dry, and then I'll put some highlights onto those apples. The reds just got a little too sticky, and when it gets sticky, you let it dry. You don't just keep trying to mess with the paint. You'll end up with, puckering and all kinds of things, and your paint will just turn into junk. So be careful of that. When your paint can't move, you go off and paint something else, okay? Get a couple of canvases going. So what's happening is I'll let this red dry. The reds take a lot longer to dry than some of the other colors. So you gotta watch it. These golds will dry overnight. The reds will take 3 to 5 days before they're dry enough to rework again. So I'll let those dry. I'll put another glaze of beautiful red color over the top. And during that process, then I'll put some highlights right where the light would hit on those apples. That's what I'm going to do in a few days. Meanwhile, when these paints begin to dry, some of the spots will dry matte or flat, and you'll lose the color intensity. And that's really a bummer, it really is. So what you have is an option to use what's called a retouch varnish. This one's just about out. I think I have another jar somewhere. But a retouch varnish you will put onto the surface of the paint, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. You can spray it, you can brush it on, and you can wipe it on. Be careful, make sure that the surface is actually dry all over, like just the surface. You know it takes 6 months to cure before you put a final varnish on your painting. Let me repeat that. 6 months, at least 3 months, 3 to 6 months. If you live in a hot climate, 3 months is probably good. 6 months it needs to dry before you put the final beautiful varnish on your painting. So this is a temporary varnish, and it just helps you to figure out what's happening with the colors. And it also gives it a lovely shine so that I can send it off to my customer with instructions that 6 months from now, she's going to have to put a varnish on it or fly me out. Yeah, I come out. Sure. Okay. Anyway, I'll show you a little bit of how this changes the area that might be a little bit flat. Hang on. I've zoomed in the camera, and I'm just going to show you. This looks pretty nice and bright, and it's going to dry to the surface. Now I'm going to just pour a little bit of this retouch varnish onto a little bit of a rag, and I'm going to rub this on. And I think you should be able to see an instant, I know I can, an instant revitalization of the paint on this particular part. Now I got to watch out for that apple because the apple is still quite wet. And so I'm only doing this on the area. Now I'm not sure that you can actually tell the difference from the camera's point of view. I'm just going to see if there's any more spots that I can actually show you. These are all really super wet. Yeah. So again, just pour a little bit onto a lint-free paper towel or a cloth, and then you just rub it on. And wow, is it ever beautiful. I can hardly wait for these to dry so I can do the same thing. So we'll just kind of put that coating over the top. When this dries, it's shiny and it's beautiful. And so then, of course, 6 months later, we put on what's called a final varnish, and the final varnish will just knock it out of the ballpark. It will. Okay, well, I'm going to just take a break for a little bit. I have to buy a new lamp. You can tell it's very gray in here, and on top of that, it's overcast today. So I blew out one of my beautiful warm-colored halogen lamps, and so time to buy a new one. So next time we should have something that looks a little bit more warm and a little less dead. So I will see you very shortly, and we'll do a new video. And if you want to learn some more, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again next time. All right, bye-bye.